Thank you very much, Chairperson. Good morning. First and foremost, I would like to thank IC for giving me the opportunity to be here and try to contribute to the discussion on this very, very important topic. And what I'm going to do in this very limited time is that to address two elements in the topic and the theme of this session, which are data protection and trust. First, about data protection. Looking at the what is happening around the world, data protection is becoming more important and important. First, the appointment of the Special Rapporteur on the Right to Privacy by the United Nations. Second, the fact that data protection clauses have been incorporated into FTA's agreements between countries. In the TPPA, there are provisions on data protections. The EU-US negotiations, data protection is one of the contentious issues. In the FTA negotiations between US and Korea, data protections clauses have been included in the agreement. And the other factor that shows the importance of data protection is the fact that there are 120 countries around the world that have enacted data protection, and more countries are coming with the bills. And the other factor showing the importance of data protection is, of course, GDPR. And we had a very interesting discussion in Hong Kong 2 weeks ago among the regulators and academia, the impact of GDPR on data flow from Europe to other parts of the world. And heated argument has been inspired from that discussion, and perhaps we can discuss it here. So these are some of the factors showing that data protection is becoming more and more important. And another factor is that United Nations General Assembly has adopted online privacy declaration. So those factors signal the importance of data protection. The second issue I would like to address is the status of trust now, the trust in the internet. There are arguments saying that the trust is eroding. The trust in the internet is eroding. And I have some papers I would like to refer to some surveys and reports that have been made recently by several institutions around the world. For example, Global Commission on Internet Governance in its 2016 says that internet we rely on is under pressure due to privacy and security issue. Public confidence in the internet as a trustworthy medium for social and business life is being shaken. Another report by the Internet Society. Existing users are increasingly concerned about privacy and security issues worldwide. In Europe, we have a report by the European Broadcasting Union, EBU, in 2006, stating in 2015, trust in the internet decreased by 2 points in the EU. Only 12 countries out of 33 trusted the internet compared to 20 in the year before. And there are so many other reports about the status of trust in the UK as well, in the US, and in New Zealand. OECD report in 2014 says this: governments identified security as the second highest priority area and privacy as the third out of 31 possible priority policy areas. So all this report showing that trust is eroding. And the next question I would like to address is the fact that how data protection legislation can enhance trust. I'm going to focus the position in Asia-Pacific countries and try to basically take you to that part of the world. As I said just now, there are 120 countries that have enacted data protection law around the world. In Asia, China recently came up with the cybersecurity law, very recent, but there are a number of provisions in that cybersecurity law provides for personal data protection. Recently, the Supreme Court of India has decided explicitly that there is a right to privacy, and the Prime Minister Modi has appointed a committee to look into the possibility of having comprehensive law for India. And Japan recently amended the law to make it compatible with the GDPR. Korea did the same. The Philippines, Malaysia, and Korea are enforcing their data protection laws aggressively. So these are some of the developments in that part of the world. And there were signals that Korea and Japan are going to be awarded the adequacy award, if I may say so, because there was a report recently issued by the European Commission. They are considering Korea and Japan in order to make an assessment about this adequacy of the Japan and Korean law on this issue. And this morning, the keynote address talked about cross-border data transfer, and that is the main focus. And basically, we have to look at beyond Europe, the transfer of data to other parts of the world, and whether or not countries in that part of the world, in Asia-Pacific, should be able to meet the adequacy requirement. And as I said, perhaps Korea and Japan are going to be the first countries in that part of the world to be awarded adequacy award. And apart from that, if we look at GDPR, Article 45, Article 47 talks about certification to allow data transfer outside Europe. And I think as far as APEC member countries are concerned, APEC has come up with the CBPR, cross-border data rules. And so far, Mexico, Canada, the US, Japan, and Korea subscribe to that programs. And hopefully, one day, a commission of the GDPR or GDPR will recognize APEC cross-border rules to be one of the mechanisms where data can be transferred and data can flow from Europe to the other part of the world. So with that, I'll stop there and we can have a discussion after this. Thank you.